On the day I gave birth, I witnessed my best friend covertly switch our daughters in the hospital. I chose to say nothing. Instead, I took her daughter into my arms and raised her as my own. 18 years later, the girl I'd raised was accepted into one of the most prestigious universities. As for my own daughter, she endured abuse at the hands of my best friend, her spirit shattered, her body crippled. During the celebration of her daughter's triumph, my best friend arrived with her disabled daughter by her side, holding a DNA test report. She confronted me with a smug, knowing look. The hospital swapped our children back then. Now, it's time to fix that. I met her gaze, offering a smile that barely touched my eyes. All right, we'll switch them back. Kinsley, my mom sent some fresh eggs from the countryside. I thought I'd bring some over for you and Leilani. Just like every other time, my best friend knocked on my door, her tone as warm as ever. Since I'd taken her daughter to raise, she'd shown up frequently, often under the guise of a casual visit. More than once, she'd claimed she wanted to share parenting advice, though I knew better. Sometimes, she'd suggest our daughters spend time together, playing and keeping each other's company. Once, she even came knocking in the middle of the night, claiming to have had a nightmare about something happening to Leilani. Carter Jones, my husband, often complained about her constant visits, saying it felt like she was punching in at work. To make things more convenient, she rented an apartment just a few blocks away, insisting that best friends should live close for mutual support. But I knew the truth. She simply wanted to be near her daughter, Leilani, watching her every move. I never called her out on it, letting her think she had me fooled. So, as always, I opened the door. There she stood, graceful in a chic long dress, holding a basket of fresh eggs. Behind her, a thin, bruised girl, my daughter, her complexion pale and sickly. My best friend had named her Isla. The moment she entered, my friend set the basket of eggs down and went straight to Leilani. Leilani, your birthday is tomorrow. What do you want as a present? Your godmother will make sure to get it for you. We had been through thick and thin together, always as close as sisters. Right after I gave birth to Leilani, my best friend had eagerly declared her to be her goddaughter. She now ran her fingers through Leilani's hair with a tenderness that spoke volumes. Leilani returned the gesture with a sweet, polite smile, answering, whatever it is, if it's from my godmother, I'll love it. Her smile widened, her expression turning even more malicious. Leilani is so clever and sweet, unlike that useless child of mine, who's nothing but a burden. She shot a venomous glare at her daughter, who stood by the door, before grabbing her roughly by the ear and yanking her inside. Get in here, you worthless fool. What are you standing there for, like some kind of useless guard dog? Just looking at you makes me furious. Without warning, she slapped her daughter hard across the face, sending her crashing to the floor. The girl's head slammed into the coffee table with a sickening thud and blood began to pour from the gash on her forehead. Leilani flinched, startled by the violence. But my daughter didn't cry or protest. She swiftly rose to her feet, the pain familiar to her, and wiped the blood from her forehead. With quiet endurance, she met my best friend's gaze, her eyes timid, and murmured, I'm sorry, Mom. I know I was wrong. Apologizing after the beatings had become second nature to her. It had happened time and again in this very house. Seeing her composure, Carter immediately reached for the first aid kit. As he tended to her wound, his eyes narrowed in fury and he spat. How can a mother hit her own child like this, Serenity? She dismissed him with a wave, a cold smile on her lips. She's nothing but a worthless brat. Look at her, she can't hold a candle to Leilani. She's lucky I haven't put her out of her misery. Without a second glance at her daughter, she turned back to Leilani, her smile wide and bright. Leilani, I've already ordered your favorite frozen cake. Tomorrow, your godmother will bring it to celebrate your birthday. Thank you, godmother, Leilani said politely, as always, accepting my best friend's favoritism with practiced grace. Watching the exchange, my daughter hesitated before gathering the courage to speak. Mom, tomorrow's my birthday too. Could I maybe get a new pair of shoes? I looked down and noticed her worn-out sandals, their soles practically falling apart. The shoes had once belonged to Leilani, cast-offs from last year, and my best friend had gleefully declared that Isla should wear them. For an entire year, they had been her only shoes. Even in the cruel bite of winter, with her feet numb from frostbite, she continued to wear those tattered sandals. You worthless wretch. You're only fit to wear these rags. Do you want a birthday celebration? Do you even deserve it? Without another word, my best friend began to lash out at my daughter again. Her harsh words and my daughter's cries filled the house, reverberating off the walls. I stood there, numb, watching the scene unfold in silence. Carter tried to intervene, his frustration mounting, while even Leilani stepped forward to stop her. Finally, perhaps to avoid further scaring Leilani, my best friend yanked her daughter away and dragged her out of the house. The following day, it was Leilani's birthday. My best friend arrived, her arms laden with gifts and a cake, knocking on my door with an eager smile. When she stepped inside, Carter noticed she was alone and frowned. Where's Isla? Today's her birthday too. Why didn't she come? With a dismissive shrug, my best friend replied, as though it were no big deal. Oh, her? I broke her leg yesterday. She's unconscious now. Her words were laced with an unsettling lightness, her smile almost smug, as if the cruelty of breaking my daughter's leg was a badge of honor. Ignoring Carter's horrified gaze, she barged inside, placing the cake and gifts before Leilani as though it were an offering to a queen. Leilani, my darling, today is all about you and your godmother won't let anything ruin your special day. As Leilani reached for the gifts, a small cut on her hand became visible. My best friend's smile faltered and her eyes narrowed in irritation. She spun toward me, her tone sharp with annoyance. Kinsley, what's going on here? How could you let Leilani get hurt? With an emotionless expression, I responded, kids are bound to get a few bumps and scrapes. Isn't your daughter covered in bruises every day, too? My best friend's face contorted with rage. How dare you compare that worthless brat to Leilani? Leilani is. She faltered, realizing her words had crossed a line. Taking a deep breath, she softened her tone, continuing, what I meant to say is that Leilani has been cherished since she was little, much more precious than my useless daughter. You need to take better care of her. Carter let out a scornful laugh and shot back, you really have some nerve. If you hadn't beaten your daughter to a pulp yesterday, leaving blood all over the house, Leilani wouldn't have felt the need to clean it up and hurt herself. At his words, my best friend's gaze flickered to Leilani. Is that true, Leilani? Leilani nodded solemnly. Yes, I just wanted to help mom and dad a little. My best friend's face softened with mock sympathy. Sometimes, you shouldn't try so hard to be helpful. Leave the hard work to your parents. Your only job here is to enjoy life. Understand? Without missing a beat, my best friend sprang into action, setting up for Leilani's birthday celebration and managing everything from the cooking to the decorations. Once the food was gone and the laughter had faded, she eagerly leaned in, eyes sparkling with anticipation. So, tell me, sweetheart, do you have any wishes? Your godmother will make them come true. Leilani didn't hesitate for a moment, her gaze steady and determined. I want to get into a top university. Hearing Leilani's wish, my best friend affectionately ruffled her hair. I may not be able to help with that, but with your brilliance, I have no doubt you'll land in a top university. And when you do, godmother will make sure to give you a surprise you'll never forget. The love in her eyes made a soft smile tug at the corners of my lips. An unforgettable surprise, huh? Oh, my dear friend, I've already prepared one for you.